Hi, stay here and listen. This is important. Let's talk about HR 1319. This is not my usual content. Normally, I like to riff on, stuff that I watch on TV or movies or things like that. But my normal big girl job is working in human resources, and I've been doing that for 20 plus years. So I would like to think that I know a thing or two about independent contractors versus employee classifications. And this bill right here, HR 1319, was introduced by the House in February, and it's not been voted on, it's not gone anywhere, but it is important that you pay attention to this so that you understand what the implications could be if this were to pass. HR 1319, essentially, if it were to pass, it would make it easier for employers to reclassify their employees as independent contractors, essentially changing their status from a W-2 employee to an independent contractor. And this spin, I'm sure, is going to be that it gives you freedom and flexibility and the ability to, kind of have your own time as opposed to what you were when you were a W-2 employee, but it also has some very real implications on removal of benefits that many of us who have been W-2 employees pretty much for our entire lives and grew up with families that had W-2 employees have just grown to expect as part of the workforce in America. So let's talk about what those would look like if you were to be reclassified to an independent contractor. What are the things that you're going to be losing? First and foremost would be unemployment. Right now, as a W-2 employee, your company is probably paying, the short version is that they're probably paying into some sort of fund to the state that you live in. And in the event that you lose your job, you would have the ability to make a claim and get some sort of monetary reimbursement to help bridge that gap from the time that you lost that first job or that current job until the time that you get a new job. It helps kind of offset any sort of no income coming in. Independent contractors are not eligible for unemployment. So if you were to lose your position as an independent contractor, the only income that would be coming in would be whatever you have saved up. And depending on what your current financial situation is, that could be nil. So unemployment would be going away. Work comp is not something that's available to you as an independent contractor. Workers' compensation is a benefit that is provided to the employees of the company. It helps pay for medical expenses and or lost time wages in the event of a workplace injury or illness. Independent contractors are not covered under the employer work comp plan. In fact, in many cases, an independent contractor is required to purchase and provide their own workers' compensation insurance in the event that they are injured or have a workplace illness or injury. That's not necessarily something that a lot of people are going to have the funds to be able to do. And certainly in the event of an accident or an illness, if they're losing any sort of wages, if they're unable to work for any particular period of time, they may not be having any income coming in. So workers' comp is something that gets taken away if you are reclassified from a W-2 to a contractor. The other thing is medical benefits, insurance. Under the ACA, otherwise known as Obamacare, employers that have 50 or more employees are required to offer their full-time employees benefits. Because of that, most employers offer their employees benefits, full-time employees, some sort of benefits, medical plan, dental vision, whatever. Those are available to employees, not independent contractors. So again, if you are reclassified as an independent contractor and not an employee, then the company has no obligation to offer you any sort of benefits, which then means that independent contractors would be required to either purchase an individual plan, go on, a community plan, go on an ACA rated plan, again, Obamacare, and we already know what's happening to Medicare and Medicaid. So medical benefits would potentially be going away. PTO, sick time, vacation, any of that, again, those are benefits that are offered to employees and are not generally something that are offered to independent contractors. So again, any sort of paid time off, PTO, sick, vacation, paid holidays, paid bereavement, paid jury leave, any of that stuff would potentially be going away. Some states do have some sort of mandatory paid sick time, paid jury duty, paid certain things. Not all states though. And again, those are generally only applicable if you are a W-2 employee. So if you're a contractor, you're probably not going to be eligible for any of those. So again, if you wanted to take vacation time or if you want to take, a trip, or if you were to get sick, then there may not be any income that's coming in during that time frame. Similarly, FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act, it is a federal leave of absence that protects certain employees if they need to be off work for an extended period of time for either their own serious health condition or the serious health condition of a family member, so a spouse or a child, or a parent. It's generally an unpaid leave of absence, but it does protect that employee's job and or their benefits. Because it's a federal leave of absence and it's only applicable to W-2 employees, if you are an independent contractor and you have some sort of serious health condition or a family member has a serious health condition, again, the company doesn't really have any sort of obligation to hold your job or your benefits for any period of time, and they certainly don't have to pay you during that time. Now, there are some states that do have some sort of variation of paid leave, paid disability, paid family leave. So I'm not going to get into the specifics of those states. I can tell you that where I'm at right now, my state does not offer that. So that is not necessarily something that would be applicable to all people. And then let's talk about this. If you'll remember, during the campaign, the big thing was no taxes on overtime. Well, if you are reclassified as an independent contractor, you're not eligible for overtime anyway. You're not getting time and a half as an overtime. So, yeah, so there's that. Now, the specifics of this are yet to shake out. The specifics of how this is really going to impact boots on the ground and employees in the workforce are yet to shake out because, again, it's just something that's been introduced. But I can tell you I've been doing this for a really long time, and this would be arguably the most significant change to the employer workforce in any of our lifetimes. It would completely reshape how America does business and how employees are able to work and what that looks like in their workforce. So this is it. Pay attention, listen, do your own research, do what you need to do. But I just thought that it was important for everybody to understand what HR 1319 looks like.